Hello guys, welcome. This is Connie and I made this video, and nope, you're not going to see my face because I'm actually a little bit intimidated by Facebook. So if you don't know right now, I have been blocked for 24 hours because I said the phrase extreme white feminism, which they told me is like a hate crime. They told me it's a hate word. I actually posted some of the dialogue between me and Facebook on my Instagram at Chocolate Chip Muffin, where I said, are you kidding me? I purposely went around to Facebook and just finding stuff, and I found so many argumentative phrases that were just completely like race hatred filled, from gays to blacks, whatever, and I purposely reported them just to see what would happen. And of course it did not get taken down. They told me it was freedom of speech, and if I don't like it, the whole spiel of you can block. So I wrote them back, and I'm like, I didn't say a curse word. I didn't insinuate hate. I didn't incite violence. All I said was extreme white feminism is not for the African American woman. So right now, if you're on my page, I can't reply back to you. I apologize. But the reason why I'm making this video without my face is because I don't even trust Facebook at this point anymore. I really want to just take down my entire account. I just think I might have to take all my pictures down because I'm actually outraged, because I have seen people call Obama a monkey. I have seen people call, Michelle Obama a man. I'm sure you guys have seen that. And I am just completely appalled that I can't say extreme white feminism. So that makes me think there's something going on. So I'm just going to walk you through some things that I look at, okay? So I made a post about white women marrying black men. And I said, that's perfectly fine. I call her Becky, and I said, listen, white women are marriage minded. They date with a purpose. They might tell you, whatever, Sex in the City, be single, whatever, but behind closed doors, they're getting married. How do I know this? Because statistics and studies show it. They're getting married at the same rate. They may be getting married a little bit older, but they're getting married. The traditional age in the United States for the past 50, 60 years was the age of 24. Now the age is 27. So they're still getting married, guys. Marriage is very much important to the white community. No matter how much bras they burn and panties they burn, it's still important. But when I try to educate, black women and say, hey, this is what's happening. The extreme white feminism, they're not even living by it. It's just something they do to keep the attention on them. And people say, Connie, how could you say that? Okay, I'll tell you something very personal. I really don't talk about it. I was doing volunteer work with my church, and I actually spent some time, and we volunteered at an HIV clinic. And it was just one day. And I could not believe how many of the women in the center, and this was an area that was not predominantly, urban. This was in the middle of Manhattan. I can't say exactly where because I'm going to involve people that work there. And when I went there, I could not believe that every single solitary person was African American, an abundantly disproportionate amount of women. So when I was talking to the director, they were going to train us to give injections, believe it or not, train us to, give, help and mental help and stuff like that. We're just doing voluntary work. Just spending 10 minutes at the center in the middle of Manhattan, they were completely overwhelmed. So I asked the director, who was a wonderful Jewish gentleman, and I say his nationality for a reason, to show that he is neutral. This is not somebody just being pro-black for no reason. And he was telling me, Connie, these women will never get the attention they need. They will never get the help they need. And it's because they're black. So when he said to me so bluntly, I was a little bit taken aback, because how did he know I wouldn't get offended? How did he know I wouldn't walk out? How did he know I wouldn't report him? But he was like, we need the attention. We need it. But, and you have to understand something about New York. New York is the HIV charity center of the world. We do the AIDS walk. We have the gay men's health crisis. We probably have more charities for HIV AIDS in New York than anywhere in the world. So why am I seeing a disproportionate amount of minorities not knowing? To me, if you are a feminist and you see the abundance of women contracting AIDS to a point where it is epidemic level, because that's the phrase he used with me. He told me it is epidemic level, that the only way for so-called feminists to not pay attention to it is if they're making a concrete effort to not pay attention to this. So that's why I'm so passionate, because I know the problems that face women Black women are so disproportionate, are so massive, that you just can't sit down and say, well, we didn't know about this, let's spread awareness. It's like we are the reason for the season. We are the reason why domestic abuse charities, and we are the reason why, CSI cases and murder cases and abductions, we are the number one demographic for murder. So when I see the feminists complaining about roles in movies, or feminists complaining about lines in movies, or feminists complaining that the Wonder Woman script was written the wrong way, the other way around. These are real things I'm talking about. It makes me angry because the less attention we get, people are dying. So just sit with me and watch this video, because I actually took my time and I lined up things that are important to me. So right here you see more Black women are killed in America than any other race. So how do you miss that? I don't know. But you can easily see a new report released Thursday by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, so this is official government-based data, has presented some disturbing statistics, racial and ethnic differences in the homicidal rates of women. While homicide is one of the leading killers of women from all racial and ethnic backgrounds, non-Hispanic Black women face a significantly higher homicide rate than most of the other racial groups in America. So what I love is that Black men will like to say, if you read my comment section under the post I made, Black men will love to diss Black women. They'll like to say a lot of things about, this is why we don't date Black women. This is why. I really think that Black women have more ground on that. You're actually killing Black women. If Black women want to be bitches and be obnoxious, we can easily say, don't date Black men because it might save your life. And you will be statistically right. So here's The Economist. This is Ebony. And another study finds Black women in the U.S. killed at higher rates than any other races. The reason why I'm talking to you about this, okay? The reason why I'm bringing this up is because how can white feminists, the extreme ones, miss this? If you were running an organization or you're doing a charity, wouldn't the first thing you do would be looking at the statistics of the areas you're supporting? Like if I'm somebody give me something, pro gun rights, for Asian people. I'm just making stuff up. Wouldn't you look into the demographics? Wouldn't you look into the statistics? Wouldn't you get the data? So if you're fighting for domestic violence and sexual harassment and street harassment and rape and sexual assault, and in every single demographic you just so happen to miss that the biggest victims are Black, I don't believe you. We need more people. I don't believe you. All right? So now we're going to talk about HIV. This is why I tell you I have an issue. HIV among Black women 5 times higher. Well, this is actually old. If you go fast forward, it's actually much higher. So Black women are contracting HIV at an epidemic level. All right, so I'll read it for you. As a health community geared up to recognize National Women and Girls HIV Awareness Day, which is a huge feminist organization, today, startling new research revealing the disease is 5 times more prevalent among African American women than previously thought. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, estimates that 1 in 32 African American women will be diagnosed with HIV in her lifetime. But a national team of AIDS experts at Johns Hopkins and elsewhere say they are surprised and dismayed that the results of a new study they conducted showing yearly numbers of new cases of HIV infection among Black women is 5 times previous estimates from the CDC. This is an epidemic issue. So I guess feminists, the extreme white feminism, they missed this one too. So we'll just let them go away with that one. Okay? Now you're looking to see, there was an AIDS conference, okay? And what about Black women with HIV? Over the last 5 years, this is more current. This is August 9th, 2016. All right, so this is August 9, 2016. So that one was 2015. Look at this jump. You tell me if this was any other segment of American society. And I'm not being overzealous because I am a Black woman, but look at this jump. Over the last 5 years, 20 times more Black women in the U.S. were diagnosed with HIV, AIDS than white women. We need to think more strategically about how to reach them. So there's a little sister running away there trying to get away, but this is a serious thing. And when I see white feminists talking about women's health rights, and when I see white feminists talking about domestic abuse and murder, rape and assault, and in every single genre, Black women are disproportionately affected, and in every single genre when they represent it, they don't talk about us. So we're not even a concern. So how are you going to fix our problems as women, as groups, when you can't even decipher, okay, this is the reason why we have these issues. She is the majority of this problem. There's no epidemic for white women in America with HIV as of right now. There's no epidemic for white men with HIV. Right now, it's the black woman who is being, she's being bombarded. So it's just really, it's just crazy. And I just want to share that, it's just crazy. So now we have another one, okay? So I went through AIDS, HIV. So people say, Connie, you're really upset about this feminist thing. Yes, because I'm going to show you, if you watch this, black moms die in childbirth 3 times as often as white moms, except in North Carolina. So now you're not even talking about sexually transmitted disease. You're talking about getting poor and suck-ass healthcare. I don't know if you guys saw, but Judge Hatchett, she's like a famous African-American judge. She has like a reality/TV show. Her daughter and her daughter-in-law and her son went to like one of the best hospitals in the world in California to give birth, and they botched her pregnancy. They basically forgot to clamp her up, and she died with 2 liters of blood inside of her while she was complaining for hours and begging to go back into surgery. And they were telling them to do like a CAT scan or MRI because she was in so much pain. So this is the plight of black women. We're being affected every single demographic, but it's just strangely enough, the white feminists don't talk about this stuff. So this is why I say to black women, if they're not considering our challenges in our area, if they're looking at these demographics and seeing black women are disproportionately affected, but they're not giving anything to help us or bring any attention to it, then why? Then why would we take dating advice from them? Why would we take relationship advice from them? Why would we take love advice from them? They're a walking, talking oxymoron. Because the marriage rates and the out-of-wedlock rates for white women have been historically, systematically, and consistently low. But yet, black women who have no idea what's going on in their own community, they have no idea about the AIDS, they have no idea about the child, dying in childbirth. When I tell it to some people, they can't believe it. But yet, they're going to take advice from, Becky, who's not having all these issues. It's never been Becky's issue that too many men want to marry her up and not let her be independent. It's never been Becky's issue that, she can't find, a good man because they all just want to have sex, get pregnant, and not marry you. That's never been her issue. So just be really careful. So now we're going to travel over here, okay? So also, I try to tell black women all the time. I run a page called Hatchfoot Economics. If you want the link to it, just message me. But I came upon this by error that you need to have good economics, good marriage to have economics. So this is a link between family and growth. I'm going to read it to you really fast. Why do family structures matter for growth? In an earlier study, Bradford Wilcox and Robert Lerman showed that the decline in traditional 2-parent married families is associated with rising incomes inequality, lower family incomes, and lower labor force participation rates. Looking at data from 1980 to 2012, they found that among married parent families, the median family income rose 30%, while unmarried parents' family incomes rose only 14% over the same period. In addition, their work also suggested that the retreat from marriage is correlated with lower labor force participation rates for men. So I'm trying to tell black women, if 70% or more, I think it's about 75% or more of black people are born to unwed moms, it's not just about Connie's pushing a narrative. I'm talking about generational wealth. I'm talking about economics, and I'm talking about the lie that's been fed to black women since the 1960s that you need to be independent. It is killing our economics. It is destroying our community. It's breaking down even the health systems in the community, because the reason why black women have so much AIDS, why do you think we're contracting it so high? Because number one, if you don't get married, you're going to date more. The more you date, the more you expose, the more partners you have. Nobody's a virgin. That is completely normal. So if you're single to the age of 38, 40, unless you make a conscious effort to not have sex, you're going to have much more partners. That's just one, okay? Number two, You're having a lot of people in the black community, unfortunately, disproportionately, have a lot of men who go to jail. The exposure to AIDS in jail is 20 times higher. I don't know why, but that's what it is. Sometimes men do stuff in jail, they don't tell you, come back and bring it back to the community. And when they come back, they tend to be promiscuous. You know, I've been in jail for 2-3 years. I'm going to go on a fuckathon and I'm going to give a lot of people AIDS. So that's what happens. And lastly, it is the gay culture, anti-culture in black community. If you're in the hood, you know, Brooklyn or a hood in Georgia, you might not be able to be walking around like Magic Johnson's son. So you have a lot of black men who are in very masculine alpha male families, and they're not going to come out the closet. So they'll marry a beautiful black woman and they'll still be having sex with gay men. I know a couple of people like this. I will not say their name. We'll be moving on. So, all right. What also kills me about white feminism is what about the fact that black women are now the most educated group in America, but they're still grossly underpaid. All right. So you see Michelle Obama, she's dancing there, but Michelle needs to stop dancing. Black women are now the most educated group in America, according to the National Center for Education Statistics. Just be careful when you look this up. You have a lot of anti-black fake news outlets that were quickly trying to disperse this. I had to look to the third page on my Google search to get to this. So a higher percentage of black women, 9.7 to be exact, are enrolled in college than any other racial or gender group, including white men, white women, and Asian women. It's the first time in American history that black women are leading the way in education. And it's kind of incredible for multiple of reasons, including the fact that education reduces poverty, promotes gender equality, and helps to lessen the spread of various health issues. Okay? So just what are these educated black women doing? The number of degrees have steadily been on the rise for 2 decades. And in US 2009, 2010, black women specifically earned 68% of all associate's degree awarded to African American students. Of all black students, she also earned 66% of all bachelor's and 71% of all master's and 65% of all doctorate's degree. All right, so you see the girl going crazy, all right? So black women are killing it. So the next time you have these dusty ass guys, especially black men, saying why they don't date black women, they really don't have much to say. We are actually supporting, building, and holding the black race. I just want to rewind this right here. Okay, of black students, 66% of all bachelors belong to black women. 71% of all masters belong to black women, and 65% of all doctorates. So that means out of the black race, you see these numbers? These are what, 68% associates? These are all the degrees that black women are getting. So this is what I don't get. Why the black woman has a negative portrayal, why she's seen as this uneducated, uncouth. It's just simple. The numbers don't add up. And a black man in comparison is in the early 30s to mid 30s in getting the same adequate education. So the reason why you see black women having a challenge in getting married is not because she's uncontrollable. It's not because she's unmarriable. It's because she doesn't have an adequate and equal mate. It's simple math. 30% of black men have education, 68, 65, 66. There's not enough to go around. And also, just know that a lot of these black men who get into higher education, even when they see black women of comparable education, 15% of them like to marry interracially. So that's cool. I don't think anything's wrong with that. Black women, you can date a white guy. You can date a Spanish guy. Go ahead. It's happening, okay? But here's the kicker, and this is where I don't believe white feminists. While black women are the most educated group in America, they're still making substantially less than their white male counterparts. So this is what I'm saying. I hear white feminists complain. I'm going to highlight this mofo. I hear white feminists complain about the gender pay, complain about sexism. Never do they speak about the white and black contrast, because black women make less. About 20,000 less per year to be exact. That is a ridiculously large gap. Look at Oprah like, huh? That is a ridiculously large gap. White women are complaining about a few thousands or a few pennies off the dollar. You're talking about this is like a couple years of education. So she's making substantially less, but yet white women are not supporting black women in these demographics. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you look at all the demographics that extreme white feminism are hollering and turning into Goku for, they're doing this in regards to things that they're not even getting severely affected by. They're not. So if you think I'm crazy, okay, I'll show you some more. So black women discriminated against in every way. Despite higher labor participation and voting rights at all education levels, black women are concentrated in lower paying jobs than most other groups of workers and have poor outcomes in healthcare, criminal justice, and life expectancy. So this is not just Connie being a crazy person. It's because I'm a data nerd and I have no life when it comes to stuff like this. I am obsessed with it. And the more I read and learn, the more I'm like, these extreme feminists are bullshit. Because every single demographic you can think of, whether it's health or job or sexual assault or sexual discrimination or rape or domestic abuse or murder or homicide, black women are like 10 times affected with no champion. So just bear with me if I have no patience for Reese Witherspoon complaining that she doesn't like to say the line to a male, which way do we go now? Because it makes her upset, because it makes her feel like only a man will know what to do. Shut up. This is ridiculous. This is, and it's not like this is secret. This is stuff that you can find out with a simple click of a button. So my emphasis is, my theory is, they're going out of their way. They're going around it on purpose. You can't talk about domestic abuse and just not see black women are most affected. You can't talk about sexual assault and rape and not see black women are the most affected. In fact, the Me Too was started by a black woman in 2007, but it only got picked up when Alyssa Milano started to take it. And she had to like partner with her. And I'm like, she shouldn't be partnering with her. That's her movement. You know, it was her movement as a black woman, and now it's just not there. So I want you to watch something, all right, really quick with me. Blacks still far behind whites in wealth and income. Because I want to know what's happening with the feminists here. Why isn't this important to them? It's only 2 minutes. Okay, so I'm actually going to turn the volume up. Hopefully there's not a million things playing.
Economy, and you'll find fractures beneath the surface. The spoils are split unevenly between men and women, old and young, high school dropouts, and MBAs. But one of the most divisive disparities is only skin deep. This is the economy in black and white. Everything you own, houses, stocks, cars, that's your wealth. In 2011, the wealth of the median white household was over $110,000. African Americans on average, 17 times less. Just over 6,000. And housing has a lot to do with it. For the average American, their home is the most valuable part of their portfolio. It's an investment that can appreciate with time, and it can be passed from one generation to the next. But the rate of homeownership among whites is 28% higher than that of blacks. And the lingering effects of segregation could be to blame. Discriminatory practices by the Federal Housing Administration prevented African Americans from buying houses in many suburban neighborhoods. The Fair Housing Act of 1968 sought to level the playing field. But by then, African Americans were entering a housing market that had already seen massive appreciation. Meanwhile, white families had seen their housing investment soar in value during their head start. Fast forward to the 21st century, minority groups were again victims of housing exploitation, this time by big banks. Bank of America and Wells Fargo, among others, were compelled to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in fines and restitution for pushing minorities into exploitative subprime mortgages and charging them higher rates and fees. This contributed to the fact that blacks and Hispanics lost nearly a quarter of their wealth between 2004 and 2010. Whites lost just 1% during that same period. So the American economy houses two realities, one black, one white. The divide between them, a measure of inequality.
And that was CNN Money. For people to think that I'm looking at extreme websites, son, that's CNN Money. So I'm just stop it right here.
Economy.
All right. So this is not me looking at some, Atlanta Star or some crazy. This is just CNN Money. I watch the money channels all the time for investing reasons and stuff. So That's what I'm trying to tell you. Where is Becky to talk about these issues that disproportionately affect Black women, Black people? Where is Becky to say, okay, this is wrong and this shouldn't be happening? And, it kills me because she's benefiting from it. You don't think when you go for a job that the white female is not discriminating against you? I'm not trying to cause a race war here, but it's just, I'm sick and tired of her toxic ways. And it's I don't want Black women to fall privy to the fakeness and listen to it, because that's not what's making success. If you want to be a wife, if you want to be a mother, if you want to stay at home and bake cookies, if you want to treat your man like a king, if you want to bring him dinner, why the fuck can't you? I'm really over the fake Becky because she's not doing this. She's having $1 million weddings. Okay, she's having $1 million engagement rings while she's telling you, and a lot of the young Black women are falling for it, that dating is not for marriage, that dating is just for Sex in the City. Meanwhile, she's in Kleinfeld picking out her wedding gown for $40,000. You know how I know? Because I was the one doing it. I was the one there. So I'm laughing that she's able to brainwash a whole generation, but meanwhile, she's in Central Park with 5 of her kids. So Black women, this is what I want to say. One of my biggest fears is that, and if you got this far, you deserve to hear my fear. One of my biggest fears is that if we do open our options, as we should, and date, and, go out there and be our beautiful, pleasant selves, my biggest fear is that we're going to bring our low expectations, our bad habits from dating Black men who didn't want to marry us, who didn't want to settle down. And, even right now you have, I think Crystalline put it on her page, I think her name is Tiffany, and she wrote a piece, blasting Black men who pursue white women just because they think they're stupid, or pursue white women because they want to do bad things to them. If you look at the marriage rates, divorce rates for Black men and white women, the divorce rates are higher, much higher than when they marry white male white women. And the reason for that is because a lot of Black men, I hate to say this, they think the white woman they can get away with and treat her dumb and do all this crazy shit. And, Becky's like, oh, hell no. And getting a divorce and taking him to court and cleaning him out. So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say, if you are going to open your options, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Don't let it become a reputation thing where we're going to start having babies out of wedlock or not having expectations for marriage, because we don't want to ruin a good thing. We have an option. We don't want these men, whether they're white, Indian, Spanish, I don't care what country, we don't want them thinking that, we're going to be here and tolerate the same mess that happened to us with Black men. And that's my fear. If you don't want to get married, if you're not looking for anything serious, if you just want to date and have fun, you do not have to come to Dating Darwinism. I know it sounds like a bitch thing to say, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, because Black women, we need the marriage. The AIDS is killing us. The economy is killing us. Not having the right partner is killing us. Not having the right husband to support us is killing us in infant childbirth. So we need it. It's not a joke anymore. We're not at this point where we can be like Sex in the City. That's just not for us. So I do want you to see this one. This is why it's so important to learn about the economy. And again, where are the feminists to speak up for the Black women who greatly affected by this? All right, so let's take a look at this. This is only 2 minutes. Another little clip.
October 19th, 1987, a day that would come to be known as Black Monday. The Dow plunged 22.6%. It had never happened before. It's still the biggest one-day percentage loss of all time. That means bigger than the 1929 stock market crash, or when trading reopened after the September 11th attacks, or during the financial crisis that almost wiped out the global economy. Here's how CNN reported Black Monday at the time.
Good evening. The stock market today crashed. The Dow Jones Industrials, every other major index, breaking records in its plummet downward.
Yep, it was a crash, pure and simple, and it was blamed on a number of factors. Heightened hostilities in the Persian Gulf, fear of higher interest rates, a 5-year bull market without a significant correction at all, and program trading. But really, the word you heard over and over again,
this is a panic.
People were panicking.
This nosedive was pure investor panic.
Well, panic is the only way to describe what happened on Wall Street today.
panic. That's a big part of what separates a crash from just a really bad day on Wall Street. When emotion takes over, when trading is no longer calm or orderly, that's when Black Mondays are born.
So you saw a thing there about the economy, and I showed you a video prior that talked about the loss of the economy. So just take a look there. Who's on Wall Street? You would think that more than 1% of people that were on Wall Street would lose their wealth, but it wasn't. You had a lot of African American people that, a lot of African American people, 25% lost their wealth. But if you ask how many African American people are actually on Wall Street, it's not even 1%. But yet, Black women were most affected by the economy. They were the first to get laid off. They were the first to lose their jobs. And I don't see Becky talking about this. So this is another one I want to show you really quick. It'll be the last one. It'll take a while to start. So basically what this video is showing you, I'll just talk before it starts, is even with college degrees, Blacks and Hispanics fall far behind. But when you put the gender issue on it, Black women become, like, you have to have a doctorate to get paid what somebody with a PhD gets paid. It's actually really crazy. But yet you would think this would be a feminist issue because all you hear about is wage inequality, but they separate race from it. So I'm going to turn on the commercial for now.
In 1931, Herman founded a university that embraced new technologies. Today, DeVry University continues our founder's spirit of innovation in all we do, since technology is at the core of business everywhere.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm so passionate showing you this, because I want you guys to know where I'm getting my logic from. I want you guys to know that I'm not just speaking out of my ass or just being passionate because I have an issue. So let's look at this.
$53,000. The surprise, about half of the job growth over the past 5 years has been well-paying jobs, earning at least $53K a year. An astonishing number of those have retirement plans. They have health care. Brand new analysis from Georgetown University finds the recovery is now being driven by jobs that require a college degree. That popular narrative of the Uber driver who can solve differential equations and the Starbucks barista who can write a business plan, it's an exception, not the rule, the researchers found. That's the good news. Another study reveals the bad news. The advantage of that college degree doesn't benefit everyone equally. Researchers at the St. Louis Fed found Blacks and Hispanics with college degrees make much more money than those without. But in the past 2 decades, Blacks and Hispanics with degrees have seen their wealth and incomes shrink. Why? Well, the researchers say they still face discrimination, plus they carried more debt during the recession.
All right, so what I'm trying to understand is, where is Becky? You understand what I'm trying to say to you? If they're so passionate about, women's rights, you do kind of realize that we are the ones to be the most affected. So if you think I'm crazy, I'm going to end this with Jane Fonda. I'm going to end this. Listen to what happened to Jane Fonda.
Activist Gloria Steinem and actress Jane Fonda appeared on MSNBC's All In with Chris Hayes Wednesday to discuss the Harvey Weinstein scandal. The two women represented the Women's Media Center, a nonprofit which Fonda and Steinem co-founded with poet Robin Morgan in 2005. Fonda, referring to the current culture in Hollywood and the firing of Weinstein, said, "It feels like something has shifted. It's too bad that it's probably because so many of the women that were assaulted by Harvey Weinstein are famous and white, and everybody knows them. This has been going on a long time to Black women and other women of color, and it doesn't get out quite the same. Weinstein has now been accused of sexual harassment, assault, and rape. So I'll stop it right there.
So I'm not crazy. You have Jane Fonda, who is actually one of the first feminists, real feminists, gung-ho, whatever, and she said it. She's saying that this has been going on a long time to Black women and other women of color, and nobody cares. So this is why I made this video. I hope you got this far. And if you look, the white feminists, they attacked her. They didn't even give her a chance to talk. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's not true. They don't care. Look. Jane Fonda says we're only paying attention to Weinstein because the victims are famous and white. Look what they said, the Daily Wire. That's nonsense. So next time somebody questions me and say, Connie, why are you so salty with white feminism? Remember what they said. Our pain, our abuse, what we go through is nonsense. Remember, they don't want the attention on us. It's nonsense. All right. And this is not the only outlet to attack Jane Fonda. There's many other outlets that came after her and went crazy on her for even having the audacity. This person said it was asinine. It's asinine for a variety of reasons. First, they said this would have been an excellent opportunity to spotlight some of the women of color complaining of sexual harassment and assault who have been overlooked. Overlook is an understatement. Instead, she just mouthed some platitudes blaming the media, when Fonda has ample ability to shed light on these egregiously racist media members ignoring black females. But what was stupid about what she said? There's nothing stupid about it. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. If I was a white feminist, extreme feminism, and I'm like, bad men, bad marriage, and somebody said this, I would say, you know what? She's right. Because if you're talking about the victims of sexual assault, if you're talking about the victims of rape and domestic abuse and abductions, I said I'm going to end this video just really quick. Bear with me. All right. I'm just going to show you. I just want to look it up with you. I just want to put black women missing. Okay, so you can see what I mean. So I'm talking about black women who's been abducted. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Nearly 75,000 black girls and women are missing across this country. Black women and girls are missing, and no one seems to care. Missing black Latina children are Americans' problem. It's no accident we hear a little bit about missing black girls. All right? There's a bigger story behind the viral tweets about missing black girls. DC missing girls. So you have over 75,000 of black people missing. I'm sorry, black girls and women missing. And you expect me to believe that your white feminism is for me. This was Connie. I hope this video made sense. I hope when you see my Goku feminist post, and when I'm saying Super Saiyan feminist, the reason why I call them Super Saiyan is because they got blonde hair, blue eyes, and they be screaming like Goku. I am an anime fan. So this is where I'm standing. I stand by it. If you expect me to believe that feminists don't know about all this criteria, you gotta sell me a bridge in Florida or something. All right, guys, this is Connie Walker. I hope you enjoyed.